Hello, I'm Elif and this is a recap for episode 37 of the series One Love, 24 hours after Turkey and before dubbed for TV. When Solvi sees that everyone has gathered behind the door in the room, she screams, throws herself out in disarray, and pretends that Mustafa was trying to make a move on her. Now Mustafa is in a bad condition and keeps saying, "I didn't do anything, by God." Nilay, without a moment of doubt about Mustafa, goes to Solvi and says, "Are you accusing my husband? Don't I know my husband?" No one believes Solvi's words. Fatih tells her, "My brother's annoyance wouldn't even reach an ant. Go outside, otherwise, no one can save you from me." In the morning, Pembe tells Doa that they will take the 40-day-old baby to the mosque. Doa agrees, and she doesn't even object to Fatih's arrival. Fatih becomes very happy and thanks Doa, saying, "Believe me, I won't upset you anymore. Just trust me." Doa says she needs some time. Pembe, Fatih, Doa, and Cemre spend a few hours together, and Pembe becomes optimistic about the situation between Fatih and Doa. At night, Olev and Ruzgar go to a restaurant at Omar's invitation. When Omer is calculating and reading the prices out loud, everyone is embarrassed, and Kıvılcım feels ashamed. After Olev and Ruzgar leave, Kıvılcım asks about Omar's behavior, and Omer, embarrassed, says, "Why are you making me look so bad? I just don't like my hat to be expensive." Kıvılcım says, "Your behavior has changed, Omer. I'm just worried about you." Omid's friend comes to Istanbul and is invited to their home by Omid. Nusama is a bit uncomfortable at first, but she doesn't say anything about Omid. Ertuğrul is impressed by the house's decor and Nusama being veiled. Omid tells him that he really likes Nusama, and they sit together. At night, Fatih tells Doa that he misses her a lot, and their daughter deserves to grow up in a good and normal family. Doa says, "What you did to me was the biggest blow to my life. I loved you so much." Fatih says, "Believe me, that night meant nothing to me." Doa says, "But it meant a lot to me. After the things you did to bring me back. If it weren't for Cemre, I wouldn't stay here for a moment." At night, when Ruzgar arrives home, Helen is waiting for him. She questions Ruzgar, and he asks her to ease up. Helen approaches Ruzgar, but he thinks of Olev and says, "I'm not in the mood. I'm tired." Helen gets upset and leaves. Omer goes to the doctor and says that his recent behaviors have changed, and his wife has sensed something. The doctor says they need to do more tests to get an accurate answer. The next morning, Pembe goes to see Nusama. When Ertuğrul, Omid's friend, comes out of the room in pajamas, Pembe is shocked. Nusama says that Ertuğrul is Omid's university friend. When Pembe is alone with Nusama, she tells her, "You've started a rebellion. Bring any naked woman to your house tomorrow and pour her on your husband." After hearing their conversation, Ertuğrul bids farewell and leaves the house. Nusama follows her and apologizes, but Ertuğrul says it's better for her to leave. After she leaves, Nusama tells her mother, "How can you humiliate my guest?" Pembe says, "I did well." Nusama screams, "Don't interfere in our lives. Please, don't interfere in our lives anymore." Pembe leaves from there with resentment. At Omar's suggestion, Ruzgar goes to Abdullah's company to discuss work. He tries to understand the love between Abdullah and Olev among his words and says, "Olev loves you a lot. She has the right. She sees you like her father." Abdullah is speechless. Ruzgar suggests proposing to Olev, and Abdullah reluctantly agrees. Doa goes to see a new lawyer she has found and explains everything to him. The lawyer scolds her for returning to Fatih's home. Then he tells Doa, "However the other party goes, I will play the same way with them." He asks Doa to act like her husband and gather evidence against him. Doa hesitates but agrees. When Omid hears that Pembe has caused his friend to leave the house, he angrily returns home and tells Nusama, "Just when we say we've reached a balance, someone comes and ruins it." Nusama says, "I'm under pressure too, Omid. What should I do?" Omid says, "I gave up my favorite job for you. From morning till night, I sat idle in that company." Nusama, feeling cornered, says, "What do you mean? If you don't work, why did my father hire you?" Omid says, "To get me off his back." Nusama says she'll talk to her father, but Omid says not to humiliate him further. At night, Ruzgar makes an excuse to spend time with his girlfriend and goes to see Olev. They are talking when Helen, who has been following Ruzgar, enters the restaurant and tells Ruzgar, "Damn you. You cheat on me with your ex-girlfriend." Olev tries to explain to Helen that there's nothing between her and Ruzgar, but Helen angrily leaves, and Olev and Ruzgar continue their evening. At night, Abdullah and Omar's families are guests at Ertuğrul's house. At the dinner table, they discuss the women working, and the Ünal family prefers their ladies to stay at home. Fatih says, no man should put his wife in a situation where she has to work. Omid says, not everyone is lucky. Fateh says, you're lucky too. You married my sister. Omid says, now that Nusama is working, should I mistreat her? Abdullah says, Nusama does calligraphy at home. Omid says, no. She's a real estate agency secretary. Everyone is shocked. Nilay says, like servants. Abdullah is embarrassed. Omar says, Nusama can make her own decisions. Don't pressure her. Ertuğrul also says, Nusama is an intelligent woman. It's natural for her to want to work outside the house. At night, when Nusama returns home, she scolds Omid for saying that she works and says, according to my family, working is a mistake. Omid asks, what does your family think is right? Nusama becomes frustrated. The next day, Panbeh rebukes Nusama and says, your father works so hard to make your life comfortable, and you become a secretary. Nusama asks, what's wrong with that? Panbeh replies, it's very wrong. Omid should adapt to you himself. Nusama says, why? Because my father is wealthy? Panbeh says, exactly. Omar goes to the doctor to get the test results, and the doctor sadly informs him that the bubble in his head is growing, and the illness is progressing. Nilay goes to Olev's office and taunts her again, saying, I'm not stupid. I know you have eyes for my father, but keep dreaming. Olev kicks Nilay out. Doa goes to the studio with Kıvılcım and introduces her to one of her colleagues, Hakan. They spend time together behind the scenes, and after finishing work, Hakan invites Kıvılcım and Doa to go out with him. Kıvılcım says she has work, but asks Doa if she wants to go. Omar is taken aback but can't say anything. Omar takes Kıvılcım to the beach and tells her with regret, I want a divorce. Kıvılcım is shocked. At night, when Doa returns home and goes to her room, she finds Fateh waiting for her, and he has decorated the place. Doa is surprised. With tears in his eyes, Fateh says, I love you so much. I'll do anything to be like before. He gives her the jewelry he bought and kneels in front of her, saying, I want to start everything anew with you and our daughter. Can you give me another chance? Will you accept me with all my mistakes? Doa says, I forgive you. But if you also accept me with my mistakes. Today I met someone new. I'm coming from her place. We had a relationship. Shocked, Fateh says, you don't do such things. Doa replies, why not? Can only men do it? Just as you said, I got excited, it was a momentary mistake. Fateh, enraged, hits the mirror and leaves the room with a wounded hand. Thank you for watching, stay tuned for the next episode.